First contact under fire. Commander Sarah Chen had seen her share of strange phenomena during her 15 years with the Orbital Defense Force, but nothing quite like this. The massive vessel that had just dropped out of hyperspace near Saturn's rings wasn't built like anything humans had designed. Its hull seemed to pulse with internal light, and its geometry defied conventional engineering principles. "Status report," she ordered, keeping her voice steady as her crew aboard the ODF Sentinel worked to analyze the unexpected visitor. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy fluctuations," Lieutenant Rivera reported from his sensor station. "Whatever their propulsion system is, it's highly unstable. And," he paused, double-checking his readings, "there are thousands of life signs aboard. The ship appears to be operating on emergency power." Before Chen could respond, 3 more objects emerged from hyperspace, sleek, predatory shapes that moved with terrifying purpose. Unlike the first ship, these newcomers bristled with obvious weapons arrays. "Multiple targeting locks detected," Rivera shouted. "The pursuing vessels are charging weapons." Chen had seconds to make a decision that would change human history. Protocol dictated first contact should be handled with extreme caution, establishing communication before any other action. But as she watched the wounded vessel's failing shields flicker against the first barrage from its pursuers, she knew there wouldn't be time for protocol. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Launch alert fighters. Get me a targeting solution on those attackers." She opened a channel to the rest of her patrol group. "This is Commander Chen. We have refugees under fire. Move to intercept hostile forces." The bridge crew hesitated for just a moment. This was far beyond their training scenarios, but their commander's certainty galvanized them into action. Klaxons blared as the Sentinel and her sister ships, the Aegis and Bulwark, moved to form a defensive screen between the wounded vessel and its attackers. The pursuing ships fired again, but this time their energy weapons splashed against the reinforced armor of Earth's warships. The ODF vessels had been built to withstand tremendous punishment, their designs shaped by humanity's cautious approach to space warfare. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "Conventional weapons only. Let's see how they handle old-fashioned kinetic impacts." Rail guns charged and fired, launching hypervelocity rounds at the attacking vessels. The aliens' energy shields flared brilliantly, but failed to fully deflect the physical projectiles. The first volley tore through their defenses, sending one attacker spinning away, trailing atmosphere. "Commander," Communications Officer Park called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the refugee vessel. Audio only, running through translation matrix." A voice filled the bridge, speaking in oddly accented English. "Earth vessels, we are the Meridian, carrying civilians fleeing the swarm. Please, our children. Tell them we've got their back." Chen responded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display as her ships engaged the attackers. "And get medical teams ready. Something tells me they're going to need help once we deal with these raiders." The battle that followed was brief but intense. The attacking vessels, apparently unprepared for humanity's robust defenses and straightforward combat tactics, soon retreated back into hyperspace, leaving one of their number drifting and disabled. As emergency teams rushed to aid the refugee vessel, Chen received a priority message from Earth Command. She expected a reprimand for engaging without authorization, but instead found something else entirely. Similar vessels had appeared near other human outposts, all refugees, all pursued by the same predatory ships. "Status of the Meridian?" she asked, watching as shuttles began evacuation procedures. "Critical but stabilizing," Rivera reported. Their life support was nearly gone. "Commander, these people, they're not just refugees. According to their transmissions, they're scientists, artists, teachers. They're running because they refuse to submit to something called the collective swarm." Chen nodded slowly, understanding the weight of what had just happened. Humanity's first contact hadn't come through careful diplomacy or peaceful exploration. Instead, it had come through an act of protection, a moment when humans saw others in danger and chose to help first and ask questions later. As she watched her crews working to save the alien refugees, Chen realized this moment would define humanity's place among the stars. Not as conquerors or mere defenders, but as guardians for those who needed protection. "Send word to command," she ordered. "Tell them we're going to need more ships. Something tells me this is just the beginning." From the Meridian's observation deck, First Speaker Ixel watched in amazement as the human vessels moved with precision to protect his people. His species had avoided Earth, seeing it as too primitive, too volatile. Now he understood. They had mistaken armor for crudeness, preparation for aggression. These humans, these children of a harsh world, had stepped forward without hesitation to defend strangers. Perhaps, he thought, watching human medical teams gently helping injured refugees, they had found not just saviors, but teachers who could show them how to stand strong against the darkness spreading through the galaxy. The day humanity became a shield for others had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same. Strength and adaptability. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the transformed cargo bay of Orbital Station Aegis, watching as her team helped another group of alien refugees adjust to Earth normal gravity. What had once been a storage area for shipping containers was now a rehabilitation center, filled with medical equipment and adaptation pods. "Easy steps," she encouraged a tall, willowy being whose skin shifted colors with each movement. "Your musculature will adapt, but it takes time." The alien, a scientist named Vreen from a low-gravity world, gripped the support bars with all four hands. "How do you endure this constant pressure?" they asked, their translator conveying both curiosity and strain. "We were born to it," Maya explained, monitoring Vreen's vital signs. "Earth shaped us into what we are. What you see is harsh conditions we call home." 3 months had passed since the first refugee ships arrived, and humanity was still discovering how their supposedly primitive biology gave them unique advantages. Their robust immune systems shrugged off the swarm's biological weapons. Their muscles, evolved for Earth's gravity, allowed them to operate in conditions that would cripple most alien species. "Dr. Patel," her comm unit chimed. "They need you in engineering. There's something you should see." In the station's engineering section, she found Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez excitedly examining holographic displays with a group of alien technicians. The screens showed schematics of what appeared to be hybrid technology. Human materials science merged with alien energy systems. "Look at this," Marcus said, pointing to a particular design. "Their energy shields kept failing against the swarm's weapons, right? But our metallurgy, developed to withstand extreme Earth conditions, earthquakes, hurricanes, you name it, it's perfect for reinforcing their systems." One of the alien engineers, a crystalline being named Sarah, manipulated the display. "Your species' approach to engineering is unusual. You build to endure rather than deflect. It never occurred to us to create technology this way. On our worlds, we didn't need to." Maya understood. Humanity's greatest advantage wasn't their technology, it was their perspective. Generations of surviving on a world that constantly challenged them had taught humans to build redundancies, to create systems that could take punishment and keep functioning. The station's alert system interrupted their discussion. Commander Chen's voice filled the complex. "All personnel, battle stations. Swarm vessels detected approaching Pluto's orbit. This is not a drill." Maya rushed to the medical bay, helping her alien patients secure themselves. Through the viewport, she watched as Earth ships moved to defensive positions. But this time, something was different. Refugee vessels that had been retrofitted with human-designed armor plating joined the formation. "They're using our combat tactics," an officer reported over the general frequency. "The refugee ships are positioning themselves like we trained them." The battle that followed demonstrated just how much both sides had learned from each other. Earth vessels took the brunt of the swarm's assault, their reinforced hulls absorbing punishment that would have shattered alien shields. Behind them, refugee ships used their advanced targeting systems to strike with precision through gaps in the enemy formation. In the medical bay, Maya and her team treated the wounded, both human and alien. She noticed something remarkable. The alien medical staff had begun adopting human emergency protocols designed for treating injuries in hostile environments. They were learning humanity's most crucial skill: adaptability. "Your people are teaching us more than combat," Vreen observed, helping stabilize an injured crew member. "You're teaching us how to endure." The battle ended in victory, but more importantly, it ended in understanding. The alien refugees saw their human protectors in a new light. Earth's gravity wasn't just a challenge to overcome. It was a forge that had created perfect guardians. Human bodies, tempered by their world's demands, could function in conditions that would incapacitate other species. Their minds, shaped by generations of overcoming environmental challenges, approached problems with unique creativity. In the aftermath, Maya reviewed adaptation progress reports with first speaker Ixel. The data showed remarkable improvements in the refugees' physical capabilities under Earth normal conditions. They were growing stronger, more resilient. "We feared your world," Ixel admitted, his crystalline form refracting light as he spoke. "We saw its conditions as too extreme, its people as too hardened by their environment. We were wrong. The very things that made us avoid Earth have made you ideal protectors." Maya smiled, remembering her own ancestors who had survived monsoons, earthquakes, and every challenge Earth had thrown at them. Humanity learned long ago that strength isn't just about power, it's about adaptation, about taking what seems like a disadvantage and turning it into an asset. As if to emphasize her point, an alert sounded. More refugee ships had been detected approaching the solar system. Earth's reputation was spreading through the galaxy. The harsh world that other species had avoided was becoming a beacon of hope, a sanctuary where the persecuted could learn not just to survive, but to thrive. "Ready the adaptation pods," Maya ordered her team. "We have more students to teach." In orbit above Earth, refugee ships fitted with human-designed armor plates stood alongside Earth vessels, a physical representation of how two very different approaches to survival could complement each other. The galaxy was learning that sometimes the harshest cradle produces the strongest guardians. The Guardian Protocol. Admiral David Okafor stood at the window of Unity Station's command center, watching Earth rotate below. The massive space station, hastily constructed using a combination of human and alien engineering, had become the heart of what media was calling the Guardian Initiative. 6 months, he mused to his alien counterpart, Strategic Director Zura. 6 months ago, we didn't even know we weren't alone in the universe. Now look at us. Zira's bioluminescent patterns shifted in what David had learned was amusement. And we didn't know that the species we dismissed as primitive would become our greatest hope. The tactical display behind them showed hundreds of ships in Earth orbit, refugee vessels being retrofitted with human-designed armor, Earth warships receiving alien sensor upgrades, and hybrid vessels that represented entirely new approaches to space combat. But more impressive than the military preparations was the transformation happening on Earth itself. "Admiral," his aide called out, "the first graduates of the Joint Adaptation Program are ready for their ceremony." In the station's main hall, David watched as 50 alien beings stood proudly in Earth-normal gravity. These weren't refugees anymore. They were the first class of what they called gravity-forged, aliens who had trained their bodies to function in Earth's conditions. Among them was Vreen, now standing tall without support, their color patterns showing pride. "When we first came here," Vreen addressed the gathering, "we thought Earth's gravity would crush us. Instead, it strengthened us. Our human allies showed us that adaptation isn't just about survival. It's about transformation." The ceremony was interrupted by urgent communications from the outer system. Long-range sensors had detected the largest swarm fleet yet, but this time, Earth was ready. The Guardian Protocol, developed jointly by human and alien strategists, was about to face its first real test. "All vessels, implement Guardian Protocol Alpha," David ordered. The fleet moved with practiced precision, forming layers of defense that played to each species' strengths. Earth ships, with their robust construction, formed the outer shell. Behind them, alien vessels with advanced targeting systems prepared to strike through gaps in the enemy formation. Between these layers, newly developed hybrid ships waited to exploit any opportunities. The swarm struck with unprecedented force, their biomechanical ships swarming like angry insects. But they found themselves facing something they'd never encountered before, a defense that combined human resilience with alien precision. "They're adapting to our formation," Zyra observed, watching the tactical display. "Just as we predicted." David nodded. "Then it's time for Phase 2. All hybrid vessels implement gravity tactics." The hybrid ships, crewed by mixed human-alien teams, began using Earth's gravity well as a weapon. They performed maneuvers that would crush most alien life forms, diving into and out of the planet's gravitational field at speeds that turned Earth itself into part of their arsenal. In the medical bay, Dr. Patel and her team had prepared for casualties, but they found their services needed less than expected. The new defensive strategies, born from understanding both human and alien strengths, were proving remarkably effective. "Their biological weapons aren't penetrating our hulls," a sensor operator reported. "The new composite armor is holding." The armor was another product of cooperation, alien metals combined with Earth manufacturing techniques, created to withstand both energy weapons and the harsh conditions of space. But the real victory wasn't in the technology. It was in the trust that had developed between the species. As the battle raged, refugee ships that had been retrofitted for combat moved to protect civilian vessels, mimicking the actions that had first brought humans and aliens together. They had learned from humanity's example that strength meant nothing if it wasn't used to protect others. "Look at that," Zyra said softly, pointing to a particular display. A human ship had taken severe damage protecting a refugee vessel, but instead of retreating, its alien allies had moved in to support it. They're fighting for each other now, not just themselves. The Guardian Protocol wasn't just a military strategy, it was a philosophy. Earth had become more than a sanctuary. It had become a training ground where different species learned to overcome their limitations. The harsh conditions that had once made aliens avoid Earth were now drawing them to it, seeking to learn the resilience that humanity had developed over generations. In the aftermath of the battle, David and Zyra reviewed the performance data. The casualties were minimal, the defensive strategies had worked better than expected, and most importantly, the cooperation between species had deepened. "We're receiving more requests," Zyra reported. "Not just from refugees now. Species that aren't under direct threat want to join the Guardian Initiative. They see what we're building here." David understood. Earth wasn't just offering protection, it was offering transformation. The Guardian Protocol had become a symbol of hope throughout the galaxy, proving that the harshest cradle could produce the strongest defenders. As he watched the mixed crews conducting post-battle procedures, David reflected on how far they'd come. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors or victims, but as teachers and protectors. They were showing the galaxy that true strength came not from avoiding challenges, but from learning to overcome them together. "Begin preparations for the next training cycle," he ordered. "The galaxy's watching now. Let's show them what Earth's children can teach them about standing strong." Trial by storm. Lieutenant Kira Zhang had never seen Unity Station's command center so tense. The holographic display showed thousands of swarm vessels converging on Earth from multiple vectors, their biomechanical forms writhing through space like a plague of locusts. "They're throwing everything they have at us," she reported to Admiral Okafor. "Long-range scans suggest this is nearly 80% of their total fleet strength. They're desperate," Strategic Director Zyra observed, her bioluminescence pulsing with determination. "Our success has made us their primary target. They fear what we've created here." They had good reason to be afraid. In the months since the Guardian Protocol's implementation, the Alliance had transformed from a hastily assembled defense into a formidable force. Earth's orbit bristled with hybrid vessels, their hulls gleaming with composite armor. Training facilities across the planet were producing crews that combined human endurance with alien expertise. All stations, Admiral Okafor's voice rang through the command network, implement Thunderstorm Protocol. The name was fitting. On Earth, thunderstorms were forces of both destruction and renewal. Now, humanity would show the swarm why they had learned to weather such forces. The defensive fleet split into 3 layers, a strategy developed through countless simulations. Earth vessels, commanded by Commander Chen, formed the outer wall. Their reinforced hulls and redundant systems made them perfect for absorbing the initial assault. Behind them, alien ships under Zyrus' command prepared their precision weapons. Between these layers, hybrid vessels crewed by both species waited to exploit any weaknesses. The swarm struck like a tsunami. Their first wave crashed against the human ship's armor, bioweapons, and energy beams, seeking weak points. But Earth vessels had been built to endure worse. Their hulls, designed to withstand micrometeorite impacts and solar flares, shrugged off attacks that would have vaporized lesser ships. Multiple breaches detected in swarm formation, Kira called out. They're trying to adapt to our defensive screen. Now, Okafor ordered. All hybrid vessels, commence Operation Gravity Dance. This was what they had trained for. The hybrid ships, their crews conditioned to Earth's gravity, began maneuvers that would have killed most alien species. They used Earth's gravitational field like a slingshot, achieving velocities that turned their ships into kinetic weapons. In the medical bay, Dr. Patel watched the battle through diagnostic feeds. The adaptation training was proving its worth. Crews were maintaining consciousness and control under forces that would have incapacitated them months ago. Energy spike detected. Kira's warning came just as the swarm unveiled their new weapon, a massive biological construct that began generating a field of pure chaos, disrupting both shields and neural patterns. But they had underestimated Earth's children. Human brains, evolved to maintain consciousness through concussions and trauma, adapted faster than the swarm expected. Alien crew members, strengthened by months of Earth gravity training, followed their human colleagues' example. Push through it. Chen's voice cracked through the static. Show them what Earth has taught you. The battle became a testament to everything the Alliance had built. Human ships took hits that would have destroyed alien vessels, while alien gunners used their advanced targeting systems to strike through the chaos. Hybrid vessels performed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics, their crews combining human intuition with alien precision. In engineering, Chief Rodriguez and his alien colleague Sarah worked frantically to maintain the fleet's systems. The new composite armor, developed through their collaboration, was proving its worth. Swarm weapons that should have penetrated their hulls were being deflected or absorbed. They're targeting communication relays, Kira reported, trying to disrupt our coordination. Switch to backup systems, Okafor ordered calmly. This was another lesson Earth had taught them. Always have alternatives. When advanced quantum communications failed, they fell back to simple radio. When digital targeting was disrupted, they used manual controls. The swarm's massive numbers began to work against them. Their ships, dependent on central coordination, couldn't adapt quickly enough to the Alliance's flexible tactics. Earth vessels would breach their formation, creating gaps that alien gunners could exploit. Hybrid ships would dive through these gaps, striking at vital control nodes. Their command structure is fragmenting, Zyra announced, her patterns shifting with excitement. The biological disruption field is failing. The battle reached its crescendo as the Alliance launched its counterattack. Hybrid vessels, acting on both human instinct and alien strategy, struck at the swarm's command nodes. Earth ships formed living shields around their allies, while alien vessels unleashed precision strikes through their coverage. When it was over, the swarm fleet was in ruins. Their remaining ships flowed into deep space, their threat to Earth broken. But the victory had come at a cost. Several Earth vessels had sacrificed themselves to protect their allies, their crews choosing to become shields until the end. In Unity Station's observation dome, Kira stood with Threen, watching recovery ships assist damaged vessels. Human and alien medical teams worked side by side, treating the wounded without distinction of species. "I understand now," Vreen said softly, "why your world created such strong defenders. Earth never gave you a choice. You had to become strong to survive. But you chose to use that strength to protect others." The battle had proven more than their military might. It had shown that the harshest cradle could produce the most compassionate guardians. Earth's children, tempered by their challenging world, had become exactly what the galaxy needed. Protectors who understood that true strength lay not in domination, but in the choice to defend others. "Begin rescue operations," Admiral Okafor ordered, "and send word to all sectors. Earth stands ready to protect any who need shelter." The message would spread across the galaxy. Humanity's shield was raised not just for themselves, but for all who sought protection. Legacy of the Protectors. 5 years after the great battle that broke the swarm's power, Earth had transformed. The planet that other species once feared as too harsh to visit had become the heart of a new galactic civilization. Professor Elena Santos stood in the recently completed Unity Academy, watching as human and alien students trained together in the high-gravity chamber. "Remember," she called out to her class, "strength isn't just about enduring pressure, it's about adapting to it." The academy had been built in the Himalayas, where the high altitude added another layer of challenge to the training. What had once been seen as Earth's drawbacks, its gravity, its atmospheric pressure, its extreme environments, had become its greatest teaching tools. Commander Chen, now Admiral Chen, entered the observation room. Her uniform bore the new insignia of the Galactic Guardian Corps, a shield design that incorporated both human and alien symbols. "How's the new class progressing?" she asked, watching a crystalline being successfully complete a high-gravity obstacle course. "Better than we could have imagined," Elena replied. "They're not just adapting to Earth conditions, they're thriving in them. Each generation of students goes further than the last." The academy was just one part of Earth's transformation. Orbital shipyards produced vessels that combined human durability with alien technology. Research centers developed new technologies based on the principle of adaptive strength. But most importantly, Earth had become a symbol throughout the galaxy, a place where being tested made you stronger. In the Academy's engineering wing, Chief Rodriguez, now Director of Hybrid Technologies, worked with students from 20 different species. They were developing the next generation of composite materials, learning how Earth's harsh conditions could inspire new solutions. "The key," he explained to his class, "is understanding that challenges don't limit us. They inspire us to innovate." A holographic message interrupted the lesson. First speaker Ixel, addressing the Galactic Council from Unity Station. His image showed the confidence of someone who had been transformed by Earth's gravity, his once fragile form now strong and resilient. 5 years ago, he began, "We came to Earth as refugees, believing its harsh conditions made it a dangerous world. Today, we recognize that those very conditions created exactly what our galaxy needed, teachers who could show us how to be strong." The council chamber, filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds, listened as Ixel continued. "The guardianship program has spread to 30 systems. Earth's children have taught us that protection isn't just about having power, it's about choosing to use that power to defend others." In the Academy's medical center, Dr. Paddle reviewed the latest adaptation data with her mixed team of human and alien researchers. The results were remarkable. Species that once couldn't survive in Earth gravity were now developing new biological adaptations. More importantly, these changes were passing to their offspring. "We're not just training defenders," she explained to a visiting delegation. "We're helping species evolve to face new challenges. Earth isn't just protecting the galaxy, it's teaching it to be stronger." Admiral Okafor, watching from Unity Station, smiled at the progress. The defensive network they'd built now extended far beyond Earth, with hybrid ships and mixed crews protecting trade routes and colonies. But the real victory wasn't military, it was cultural. Look at this, Lieutenant Zhang, now Captain Zhang, showed him the latest survey data. Worlds that had once shunned Earth as too dangerous were now building their own training facilities, using Earth's principles to strengthen their own people. In orbit, Unity Station had grown into a sprawling complex where species from across the galaxy came to learn and train. Its gravity could be adjusted to help visitors gradually adapt to Earth conditions, but fewer and fewer needed that help. The galaxy was growing stronger. Strategic Director Zira, her patterns showing pride, reported the latest statistics. The number of worlds requesting Guardian training has doubled again. They've seen how Earth's challenges made humanity strong, and they want that strength for themselves. The legacy of Earth's protectors had become something no one expected. Humanity hadn't just become shields for the weak. They had become teachers, showing the galaxy that facing challenges head-on made you stronger than avoiding them. In the Academy's Great Hall, a memorial listed the names of those who had given their lives, defending others during the Swarm War. Below it, a simple inscription read, "From Earth's harsh cradle came those who taught the galaxy not to fear challenge, but to grow through it." Professor Santos watched as her latest class graduated, their bodies and minds strengthened by Earth's conditions. Among them were descendants of the first refugees, now standing proud in Earth's gravity. They would go out into the galaxy not just as defenders, but as living proof that adversity could breed not just strength, but wisdom. They used to call Earth a death world. Admiral Chen mused, standing beside her. Now they call it the Cradle of Guardians. The name was fitting. Earth had become more than a fortress or a sanctuary. It had become a forge where the galaxy's protectors were shaped. Its harsh conditions, once seen as obstacles, were now recognized as the very things that had created a species capable of teaching others how to be strong. As new ships launched from Earth's shipyards, carrying mixed crews to protect distant worlds, they carried with them humanity's greatest lesson. True strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from facing them together. The legacy of Earth's protectors would continue, teaching future generations that the harshest cradle often produces the most compassionate guardians.